What's up, YouTube? Scott here with the Carrera Cafe, and today I'm bringing you guys a 12-month summary of what it's cost to maintain and repair my 1985 Porsche 911 3.2 Carrera. I'm going to break this up into maintenance versus repairs, and I'll also break it up into DIY, things I did myself, or things that I paid to professionally have done. I have driven this car quite a bit in the last 12 months. I've put 7,000 miles on this car in 12 months, so it's not a garage queen. I frequently get out and enjoy it. And in a lot of cases, I'm driving the car to drive the car, which means I'm actually driving the vehicle to its 80, 90%. I'm not putzing around town. I am sending it into corners and driving this car like it should be driven. So let's dive into what the last 12 months has looked like. All right, so we're going to start off this list from oldest to most recent. So starting with the oldest item on our list, shortly after purchasing this vehicle, I was on a drive to a park, went to this park, grabbed lunch, and when I went to leave, the vehicle almost felt as if it was stuck in reverse. What I think actually happened is when I went into reverse, the car actually maybe went into fourth gear. Anyway, it was stuck. When I released the clutch, the car wouldn't go anywhere. So I called the tow truck. Tow truck got here and we kind of pushed the car forward and back and were able to kind of jump it out of gear by relieving some of the tension. I ended up still having the vehicle towed to a local indie shop, and it turns out the shifter coupling and bushings were just so old that the linkage was no longer working. So I got lucky there, but that repair ended up costing $1,010 after the tow, parts, and labor. But it does shift a lot better now. Although this was a repair, it should have probably been done as maintenance a while ago, so I wouldn't have gotten stranded somewhere. Next item on the list, super easy, and super cheap. I have a sunroof on my vehicle, and the air deflector or wind deflector pops up when you roll back the roof. It's just a little plastic air deflector, but it has two really tiny arms on it, and one of those arms were broken on mine, so it kind of rattled and flapped around. So I got a replacement from Pelican Parts for a whopping $22, and I did that one myself. One of the really critical items I needed to do right after buying the car, and I knew this when I bought it, it needed a set of tires. This was owned by a collector before me, and although the tire tread was fine, the DOT date on the tires, I think they were 12 years old at this point. I've driven this car more in 1 year than the prior owner drove it during like 7 or 8. So it needed a set of tires. One of the things I like about these older 911s is it's actually a relatively cheap tire when you compare it to other sports cars. I was able to pick up a set of Bridgestone Potenzas, which is just a summer high-performance tire, for $1,093 shipped to my door on Tire Rack. Now, I am a little bougie when it comes to mounting and balancing. I have a set of BBS wheels on the car, and I really don't want those damaged. So I did not just stroll into some Joe Schmo Jiffy Lube tire shop. A lot of reasons not to do that, obviously, when you're dealing with an air-cooled 911. So I did go to an independent Porsche shop by my house, and I did pay quite a bit of money for a mount and balance and disposal of the old tires. The mount and balance professionally, without any damage to my wheels, cost $384. And I would obviously classify that as a maintenance item. Next on the list was a maintenance item, and should have been a DIY, was an oil change. No big deal. Get on Pelican Parts, order some oil filter, and a drain plug, right? No big deal. Well, this was my first oil change during my ownership, and it turns out the prior owner cranked the drain bolt way too tight and also stripped it. I tried a few different avenues to get the bolt off myself. However, I was not going to damage my oil pan myself. So I did end up putting oil back in the vehicle because I'd already halfway drained it from the reservoir and took it to my local indie shop to have them carefully drill out the drain plug and replace it. To my surprise, that only cost $239, but because I was fed up and lazy, I did also pay them to do the oil change, which cost a whopping $325. These vehicles take almost 12 quarts of oil because they are oil cooled, not air cooled, and it's pretty expensive. That's why I wanted to do it myself, but just the way things shook out, I ended up just having the indie shop do it while it was there. So obviously that's a maintenance item. Got to change the oil once a year in this vehicle, even if it's sitting. Looking forward to the next oil change that I do myself without a stripped drain plug. Next thing on the list, the vehicle, it needed some rotors. When you brake pretty hard, you'd feel it in the seat, which is usually an indicator of rear rotors warped. So it did have some older rotors, older pads. So I used my local indie shop to replace the rotors, pads, and the wear sensor. This is obviously considered maintenance. I've done brake jobs myself, but these rotors were really old, really rusted on there, and I thought, you know what? For the amount of money I'm going to spend on parts, this might be one from a convenience perspective I just pay somebody to do. So the rear brake job cost $1,127. And my brake pad wear sensor light is still on. So don't know if they maybe installed the sensor wrong, but guess that would have been a reason to do it myself, huh? Next item, these two kind of relate. So I've been working a cold start idle issue. So when the car is cold, particularly if it's also damp outside, I get a little bit of rough idle during cold start. It does go away after warm up, so it is something specific to the cold start procedure. So I replaced the idle control valve, which sits right on top, with an aftermarket replacement option. Relatively easy to do, and there's a couple ways to test to see if yours has failed. Mine was really old. It passed the test, but I replaced it anyway because it's not that expensive of a part. So the idle control valve was $169. I got it from Pelican Parts, and that was just a DIY repair. It unfortunately didn't really fix my idle issue, so I moved on to the next, which was I replaced the fuel filter. So fuel filter was pretty old on this vehicle, so ordered a fuel filter from Pelican Parts as well as some Porsche classic fuel cleaner. So I replaced the fuel filter and dropped in that cleaner. Those items combined, the fuel filter was $36. I still have the issue, so I think I'm moving on to probably checking for vacuum or intake leaks. I did test my temperature head sensor, which is already on the 2-wire solution. The temperature head sensor, if it gets the incorrect reading, could be dumping the wrong amount of fuel and causing it to run rich. But my temperature head sensor is good, so I'm going to start looking for intake leaks next. Last item on the list, real simple. I did replace the air filter. Mine had an aftermarket air filter that looked like it kind of shrunk over time inside the air box, and it had a little bit of a whistle under wide open throttle, but not a good kind of whistle. It was almost like air was seeping in on the side where it shouldn't. So I did replace it with an OEM spec air filter for a whopping $30. So over the last year, without some little things I didn't keep receipts for, like wipers and AC recharge, which, by the way, my AC does work, but it's got a small leak, which is pretty common, so I think I've recharged my AC 2 or 3 times. I've spent $4,440 in 12 months on maintenance and repairs on my 1985 Porsche 911 3.2 Carrera. My vehicle does have 100,000 miles, so it's on the more experienced and enjoyed side of things. So that's kind of what it's looked like, and I'll definitely bring you guys another video next year summarizing what the next year of maintenance and repairs look like. I plan to do some additional upgrades as well. I've already done the Dank Sport muffler, but I'd like to do some other things like a numeric short throw shifter, I'd like to maybe spend some time on the suspension. I've got some kind of creaky bushings. The car drives very well, but I'd like to replace some of that. So I'm actually due for another set of rear tires. I only got about 7,000 miles out of the rears. The fronts are fine. Even though my alignment's good, it was an even tread wear. Apparently, if you drive these cars like they're intended, the rear tires wear about twice as fast as the front, obviously because the weight's back there, and I drive it like it should be driven, which is fast. Thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Was it worth it? F yeah.